Hi friends, this is Victor with Delorme CPA. Welcome back. And in today's video, guys, I want to talk to you about a conversation that I had with a dear friend of mine, one of my clients, Richard. Richard called me about a few days ago, and Richard tells me that he is starting a new business, right? He currently owns a business, a successful health-related business. And so now he's creating this new club ambience type of restaurant, kind of like a jazz club restaurant, if you will, similar to like a House of Blues. And so Richard tells me all the beautiful work that he's doing, right? He got the space, he got a lease, he's doing all these beautiful, build out all these designs, these amazing things that are gonna be important for the ambience, right, of this restaurant. And Richard tells me, well, Victor, but I have a problem. I'm running out of money. And so I'm talking to this potential investor that's gonna put money into the business so I can keep going with this project. And I asked Richard, okay, that's great. And I asked him, do you have an operating agreement in place, for this new partnership? Because now you're not a sole investor owner. Now you're going to bring investors. So now you're potentially having partners. So I asked him, okay, so do you have an operating agreement? Do you have a contract in place? And the answer Richard gave me is, no, I don't have anything in place. So that's a big stop. It's a big red flag, if you will. Basically, when you're working with investors, when you're working with partners, the first thing you want to make sure is that you have the rules of the game, right? It's like you're playing Monopoly. It's like you're playing a game. You want to make sure that the rules are set so there's no discrepancies or arguments or things that do not make sense when things go sideways, right? You always want to make sure that you have a contract in place. In business, that's called an operating agreement. And one of the first things in the operating agreement that you want to emphasize is what's going to be the role of each of the shareholders, partners, owners in the business, right? Like, are you going to be a silent partner? Are you going to be an active manager, right? It's one of the points that you want to make sure that you have in place. Another point, guys, is that, hey, how we're going to be splitting the profits or losses, right? You guys understand, you guys know that oftentimes a business takes time for that, for the business to be profitable, right? So how our losses or profits are going to be allocated? How distributions and dividends are going to be allocated? Is it going to be pro rata on the investments versus the total investment in the business, right? Another thing that's very important, another aspect is, hey, how are we going to split, or how are we going to assume the debt of the business? Let's say that you have terms with vendors. Who's going to be responsible for that in case of the business changes, right? It's investor number one going to be responsible? Is investor number two going to be responsible? Is both of them combined, or is it the business? It's very important for you to consider, how to split or how to manage the debt in the business. Another very important point is capital. Like, how is the capital going to be allocated, right? Is the capital going to be common? Is it common investment? Is it preferred investments? Another aspect is, okay, so let's say that we want to dilute the business, right? Basically, we want to bring the additional investors or owners into the business. How are the ownerships are going to change, right? Well, let's say we want to, terminate the partnership. How are we going to, distribute the earnings, if any, or the debt? How we're going to manage that. So it's like it's a contract, guys, that you want to make sure that you have in place, so you have an understanding of how things are going to work in the business, right? It's very important. So don't forget, if you're going to start a business and you're going to have partners, make sure that you have an operating agreement in place. I hope that this was informative to you guys, and I'll see you soon.